So Collosal Bioscience, a wealthy-backed venture capital whose goal is to bring back extinct species, just reported on Monday that they had brought back the direwolf. The science they did is seriously impressive. It should be celebrated for what they were able to accomplish. However, the question remains, is it actually a direwolf? Time and USA Today sure seem to think so, according to their headlines. Well, the short answer is no. The long answer is no. Seriously, this is a flat-out lie. For starters, the articles were touting that wolves and direwolves shared 99.5% DNA. Well, so do humans and chimps. And they did 20 edits. By that logic, take a chimp, edit in 20 stretches of human DNA, behold a man. Had they actually wanted to get something even close to a direwolf, they should have started with its closer cousin, the African black-backed or side-striped jackal. Yes, direwolves are more jackals than wolves, but the big celebrity donors and investors just wanted to hear that Game of Thrones' big vicious doggo was brought back from extinction. We know how to raise and care for the American wolf. They are also fairly easy to get a hold of. Better yet, they can breed with a dog and make hybrid puppies that they can sell for a ton. Jackals, on the other hand, are less understood on how to care for them, are more expensive to get a hold of, and there are no domestic jackal-dog hybrids. There have been many cases with a crossbreeding with a golden jackal, but we have now discovered through DNA evidence that the golden jackal is actually a species of wolf, meaning that Anubis is not a jackal, but a wolf-headed god. I can't find any case where a dog interbred with a true jackal and got a successful breeding line out of it, just with a golden jackal, which makes more sense now that we know its genetics. This was a flat-out lie, a PR stunt meant to get the investors to gush over them and throw tons more money at them. It was a proof-of-concept idea that, if done to a jackal, then allowed to breed for a few generations to ensure genetic stability, and then continue to do more edits over time, could eventually lead to a direwolf. This is a dire-like wolf, at best, and a new breed of wolf at the worst. If it was a true direwolf, they couldn't breed with a wolf at all. They never justified the reason to resurrect this animal other than it's cool. The real reason is proof of concept, that we'll create a very expensive dog breed that rich people will pay millions to claim that they own a part direwolf dog. Nothing else. People think this could be bad, but at this point, I'm not even mad. Like the woolly mouse, it's a proof of concept done on less expensive species to test how well it turns out in more expensive species, especially since elephants are crazy intelligent and the ethics around mucking with their DNA is very fraught. In the grand scheme of things, this changed species shouldn't have much of an impact on anything. However, should we bring back species at all? If nature decided they're gone, shouldn't they be gone? Well, there are both sides to the argument. The biggest side is the fact that we aren't taking care of the species we have right now, and this just gives another tool to the wealthy that, hey, we can always get this animal back after we've killed them all off, so get over it. The other issue is the problem of a new pest problem that is unkillable or outcompeting other animals who already fill that niche. The direwolf was a North American predator that went extinct around 10,000 years ago. We release a pack of direwolves into the wild, well, there's already a species that fills this niche, that being the actual wolf, that farmers already hate even though it helps the quality of their land, and hunters want them shot because they bring down the population of deer, of which there are 3 times as much as ever existed prior to Columbus, and they cause a needless high number of car accidents, and many deer are sick because their population is artificially too high. Hunters just want easy hunts. The direwolf went extinct because the megafauna went extinct. There just wasn't enough food to keep it going. We'd have to get bison back to its pre-colonial levels before we could ever even think about bringing back a true direwolf. So the idea of bringing this species back for anything other than zoos is just plain stupid. However, there are some actual climate arguments for larger megafauna. Animals such as the mammoth, the giant sloth, the glyptodon, or the thylacine. We aren't certain if humans were the cause of the mammoth die-off, or were just the last nail in the coffin. There is evidence, like the Neanderthal, that there might have been disease spread, or volcanic eruptions causing genetic bottlenecks, making its die-out set in stone. It's also possible that the warming climate changed things too much to survive. Either way, mammoths were a real niche that's been missing that keeps carbon trapped in the permafrost through compaction. Forest workers in Siberia have been using bulldozers to mimic assumed mammoth behavior, such as knocking down trees, which actually causes more carbon release when trees grow in a tundra area. South America also has no megafauna since the die-out of the glyptodon and the giant sloths, and certain seeds that used to rely on them for dispersal are seriously struggling. It's quite possible that with this niche restored, South America could succeed better than it currently is. Oddly, Pablo Escobar's drug hippos of Colombia appear to be filling that niche and are giving scientists insight as to how they affect the environment, even if they're a nuisance and a pest. The hippos have also shown just what a megafauna can do if it's brought in from the wrong area and released. Last time I checked, there were almost around 90 hippos running loose there, and they're still breeding. They can't affordably transport them to, say, Africa, where they live, and killing them is really hard, and there are animal rights activists that are against it. Tranking them for neutering is also very hard with their vicious personalities and tough skin. Man is a suspect in the death of these megafaunas, but not proven culprit yet. However, there is one possible keystone species that we know for certain man caused the extinction of, and that is the thylacine. The thylacine, or Tasmanian tiger, was decimated purposely for the same reason that the gray wolf was wiped out of the eastern US. It's not even clear if they were a threat to sheep, they were just killed en masse, just like the inhabitants of Tasmania. To this day, there is no known native Tasmanian. It was genocide. They lived on the mainland up until 3,000 years ago. Why they went extinct, we're uncertain. However, they were much nearer in existence to us than the rest of the megafauna they want to bring back, and should still have something of a place in at least Tasmania. Also, unlike these other species, we have full or nearly full genomes of these things since we have quite a few specimens of them, and the last wild thylacine died in the 1930s, though locals claim they still exist in hiding. The thylacine might do a better job at keeping the Australian invasive species down, even better than the dingo, and have a net positive impact, just like when wolves are reintroduced to areas, keeping the deer populations down from doing damage. The logistics, however, are quite a bit more complex. For one thing, like jackals, marsupials are lesser known species, and the scientists will have to learn a lot more to have functioning thylacine reproduction. Another thing is that its closest relative is the quoll, which is like trying to have a cat give birth to a mid-sized puppy. It's theoretically possible, but uncertain it has the nutrients needed to give a live birth. The only advantage is that all marsupials are born prematurely and lives in a pouch until it gets really big, so if treated like a premature birth, they might be able to have a quoll birth of 1 through C-section and then raise it under pouch-like conditions to continue onward. Either way, the direwolf hoax, while cool and a step toward helping with de-extinction and a way to test code to ensure they're on the right track before continuing, is not a direwolf. It's a new future dog breed and will never be released to the wild, or at least should never be. Hopefully the papers that quoted them verbatim, instead of tempering it with skepticism, will get shamed enough that they don't do something like this again. But with more rich people owning journalist outlets, I'm pretty sure they will. So as always, thank you all for watching this as a video or listening to this as a podcast, which I'm sure was completely uncontroversial to anyone, especially to the YouTube monetization team. So if you found this useful, please donate to my Patreon. Just a reminder that I'm Anubis2814 on YouTube, and I have almost 700 videos on my channel that I've made over the past 11 years on religion, science, psychology, and politics. Please go check them out, and if your site has the option, like, rate, review, and comment. A special thanks goes out to Kendall Copperberg, Mylon Mia, Ogrel, Elias Garcia Guevara, and Joe Taylor for their $10 or more Wapawet level donations. I'm always humbled by the fact that they find my work worth funding and worth driving me forward. Thank you all. Please consider donating to my work if you can, and thank you all for listening.